Good evening to all of you. Hopefully, all of you are fine. And just a few days left to for your exam, internal exam, CA4 exam to be started. So, get yourself prepared for that upcoming exam. And I told you that all the questions you will be getting common. So far, what I have discussed in these classes, in this live classes, so you will be getting questions from these discussions, so don't get worried about that. And hopefully all of you have registered for this exam to be conducted by BBIT. But nevertheless, let us start today's discussion. Okay. Today we will start a topic which is also very important for any object-oriented programming language, and of course for Java also. That is method overriding. And this chapter is also important for your exam and also for the campus exam. So see, the overriding by the name itself implies that whenever we try to override something, right? Override means definitely there must be some existing features. If we try to override the functionality of the existing features with some another functionalities, with some additional features, right, which will override the functionalities of the existing one. Sometimes we may need so. Right? So by the definition, overriding happens only for the inherited classes, right? In a single class, this overriding concept doesn't arise. So by definition, we can say that if a class inherits a method from its superclass, right? Means inherited class will inherit a method from its superclass. Then there is a chance to override the method, provided that is not marked final. Means I want to override a method which is already there in a superclass. Means inherited class will override a method which is already there in superclass according to the requirement, according to the need of inherited class. Okay. So it is overriding the method of superclass. And if that method is declared as final in superclass, then no inherited class can override that method. That is a restriction. Okay. Now let us go by the notes. This is written over here, what I told you just now. Now the benefit. What is the benefit of overwriting? That also I told you. Ability to define a behavior that's specific to the subclass type, which means a subclass can implement a parent class method based on its requirement. Very clear? No confusion should arise for this. Now let us go straight to an example. This is an example of animal class. Only one method is defined, right? That the name is move. And here another class is there which inherits the class animal with the keyword extends, that is the dog class. So dog class inherits the superclass animal. And here also it consists the same method move, right? Same prototype, same public void move, but with some different messages, right? Now let us see what happens when an object by a superclass as its reference tries to invoke this method. Let's say here in the main class we have created two objects of animal class. Animal A, new animal, it's fine. Now animal B, new dog. You can be surprised that here we are creating an object of inherited dog class but with reference to animal, so it will work. Compiler will have no problem. That's why in comment section I mentioned animal reference but dog object. So object is being created, object of inherited class dog is being created with the reference of animal class. We can do because the animal is a superclass of this inherited class dog. Now we are trying to invoke the two versions of this method move. One with the reference of A, it will work fine because A is an object of animal class, and B dot move, it is an object of dog class with reference of animal class, runs the method in dog class. So it will work fine. Animal can move first, this animal can move, and also dogs can walk and run. Dogs can walk. Here I mentioned in the above example you can see that even dog B is a type of animal. Dog B, you can see that even though B is a type of animal, it runs the method in the dog class. Right? The reason for this, in compile time, the check is made on the reference type. Check will not be made with the class consisting of that method. Compiler will check always the reference, right? Here we got the reference animal B, it has got the reference of animal, so it will compile and run also. However, in the runtime, JVM figures out the object type and would run the method that belongs to that particular object. Here A, this B is being referenced by the animal class, that's why it will invoke. It will invoke the object, it will invoke the method which is defined in the dog class with the reference of animal, right? So these two versions will work without any problem, right? Now for the next example, see here we have taken the same code, but an additional method we have put in the inherited class dog, that is bark. Now animal A, new animal, no problem. Animal B, like the previous code, it is being created, B is being created as an object of dog class with the reference animal class, no problem. Okay. Now B, we have called this A dot move, B dot move, just what we did in the earlier program. But here also we are testing whether that bark works or not. That is, the invoking of the method bark will work or not. What do you say? Will it work? Let me see how many of you are online. Yeah, good. Good evening to all of you again. Yeah, okay. So many of you are now online. Now you think whether this bark method will be invoked by the object B or not. Could you answer? Anybody? Will it have any problem or it will work fine? See, how does your common sense say? Always keep one thing in mind, that while creating an object whose reference it is getting. See here, while creating the object B of dog class, we are referring the animal class. So fine, this object is the object of dog class, but here it is referring the animal class. So compile time and runtime also, whenever this object will try to invoke a method, it will just instantly it will be referred to the animal class. It will check whether any such method bark is defined over there. No, bark is not defined over there. Here this move with the same move method has been overridden, but no bark is over there, right? So it will not work. So you will get an error. B dot bark can't find symbol, right? The moment this method will be invoked, since B has got the reference of the superclass animal, the control will directly go to the superclass with the reference this animal. It will check whether there is any method defined with the name bark or not. No. This program will throw a compile time error, since B is B's reference type animal doesn't have a method by the name of bark. Clear? Okay, so these are the constraints of method overriding, and what are the rules of method overriding. The argument list of the method should be exactly the same as that of overridden method. We cannot change the argument list, right? It will be same as superclass. You can see always the inherited class is overriding the method. Inherited class consisting the same method as superclass trying to override that method. As simple as that. The return type should be same or subtype of the return type declared in the original overridden method superclass. The access level also, as we know that we have in any object-oriented language, we have some access specifier. 3 access specifier are there: public, private, and protected. I will take a special class on these access specifier also. Okay, what is the difference between public and protected? You know that public and private, these 2 specifiers are very clear. From the common sense you can answer, but in between there is an access specifier protected, right? That needs to be discussed. I will take a special class on these access specifier. Fine. So this access specifier also will be the same. It is not that the method which we are going to override, the method in the superclass is defined private, and here in the inherited class it is defined as public. It will not work. The access level cannot be more restrictive than the overridden method's access level. For example, if the superclass method is declared public, then the overriding method in the subclass cannot be either private or protected, right? Instance method can be overridden only if they are inherited by subclass. A method declared final cannot be overridden. That at the beginning I told you. And it is not possible to override a method of superclass if the method is declared as final. Final means you can consider like it's constant, right? You cannot override it. So, a method declared static cannot be overridden, but can be redeclared, right? The final cannot be redeclared, but here if it is defined as static, you cannot override, but you can redeclare it. Okay, so it will just be treated as a different version. So the concept of method overriding will not play over there, right? If a method cannot be inherited, then it cannot be overridden. As usual, I told you that the concept is valid only whenever we are having some inheritance of class, right? A subclass with the same package as the instance of superclass can override any superclass method that is not declared private. I have not discussed package. One we will discuss package, then it will be cleared. A subclass in a different package can only override the non-final method declared public or protected. An overriding method can throw any unchecked exception regardless of whether the overridden method throws exceptions or not. However, the overriding method should not throw checked exceptions that are new or broader than the ones declared by the overriding method. The overriding method can throw narrower or fewer exception than the overridden method. Overriding method and overridden method. Overriding method means the method which is going to override, means the method of the inherited class, and overridden method means the method of the superclass. Okay, this also I will discuss when I will discuss the exception handling. Probably in the next class we will discuss on that topic, exception handling. That is also very important. You have used exception already in some of the programs, but I don't know whether the concept is still clear to you. That's why it's a separate different chapter. After this, according to the sequence of your syllabus, it will come afterwards. It will come just after this this method overriding. Okay, the separate portion. Using the super constructor cannot be overridden. Okay, now using the super keyword, when invoking a superclass version of an overridden method, the super keyword is used. See here, the same type of program we are discussing. There is a class animal consisting of method move declared as public, and dog extends inheriting the animal class, okay, consisting the same method move. So the move here, this is overriding method and this is overridden method, right? So here we are trying to override the method with this redefinition in the dog class, public void move. Now once it is overridden, here automatically, if it has not got the reference of animal, the overridden means the overriding version will be invoked if it is being invoked by the object of inherited class. I repeat, by default the overriding method of inherited overriding method will be invoked by the object of the inherited class by default. Okay, if it is not getting any reference of the superclass, the first program, that object B dog, that object B of dog class has got the reference of the superclass. That's why that method of superclass version, that method of superclass version worked over there, right? Otherwise it will not work. It will just invoke from the object of the inherited class. But if we need to invoke the same object, if we need to invoke the object of superclass, means overridden object, then we must use super. When we use this keyword super dot move, the control will directly go to the class which is being inherited by the inherited class, means here. Okay, then it will work as usual according to its description. It will work. Now testing. Animal B, new dog. Animal reference but dog object. B dot move runs the method in the dog class. So here it will first go to the animal class super, and then it will work as usual. Output: animal can move, dogs can walk and run. So this is all about the overriding. So we can get the difference between overloading and overriding. I discussed in the previous class also. Overloading happens between the methods defined in the same class. The different versions of methods defined in the same class, right? But overridden happens in the different classes getting a relation of inheritance, right? So this is the basic difference between method overloading and method overriding. Okay. So fine, I think today we are concluding this part, this overridden. Then we will in the next class we will start polymorphism. Okay, and after that we will discuss this exception handling. And I am planning to conduct the next class on Google Meet platform, right? So let us see what we can how we can enjoy the new platform, and because that is a very good one for the interaction, right? Here you can interact with the message only, but over there that audio visual interaction happens. So for any doubt clearance, so that Google Meet is much more better in comparison to this YouTube. Ultimately whatever we discuss, we have to, whatever platform we use, eventually we have to upload in the YouTube, right? Maybe the live version or maybe the uploaded version, otherwise it will not be a public one, right? So even after taking the class in Google Meet platform, I will upload that version and that recorded version to the YouTube also, so you can follow as and when required at any time, right? So and another disadvantage that in Google Meet platform, that streaming here YouTube gets the most optimized platform so far the streaming is concerned. But in Google Meet what happens, that bandwidth gets divided, because the interaction happens from both ends, right? Here the audio visual interaction happens from one end, right, from my end to you. But since in Google Meet the interaction happens between both sides, so definitely that bandwidth is fixed, so that bandwidth is logical band of frequency spectrum gets divided. It is also a technical concept you must read in your computer network and telecommunication. You belong to a student of electronics and telecommunication engineering, no? So it's a part of telecommunication, a division of bandwidth. So many analytical numerical problem you will get in your gate exam, right? So nevertheless, let's conclude with this for today's class. So next day we will conduct the class a new platform using Google Meet. Okay, so till then, goodbye, take care, and good night. Bye.